Well, driving in a lowrider, man, I can tell you from being a kid and actually wanting to have that feel or imagining that feel to be, down the boulevard and cruising, and finally reaching that point. It's a feeling that you really can't describe, and actually people that lowride would know what I'm talking about, or would understand what I'm talking about. To have your music right, to have your ride clean and just dipping, it's a feeling that you can't really duplicate. It's a 1962 Chevy Impala that we took off the frame here at Charlie's Transmissions a good 7 years ago. We went through the whole undercarriage. It's got full chrome undercarriage done by Concord Plating in North Carolina. We rebuilt the motor. It's got a 327. We painted the block, pretty much dressed it up. Interior has been redone by JB's Custom Upholstery in Raleigh, North Carolina. We kept it original to go along with the classy look of the Impala. On the trunk, I decided to go with a 2-pump setup. I hard-lined it, hid all the dumps, and made it look as clean as possible. Audio Acoustics in Durham, North Carolina took care of the sound system, along with a friend of mine, Jose Silva, which helped me out with some of the panels. Gold wheels were done by OG Chop out of California. Paintwork was done by Felix Designs out of Vegas. It's a green base with pearl on top. He also dressed it up with some pearl patterns with pinstripe. Gold plating was done by Speedy out of California. I did a lot of the badges, bezels, that sort of thing. Just dressed it up to accent the wheels and the paint job. I am the president of the Majestics North Carolina chapter. The car club has been in my blood from years ago. I think it had to be in late 90s when I started seeing the Majestic plaque. And it's just something about the plaque that stands out. With all respect to all other clubs, with just that look of the Majestic plaque on the back window, just has a different look. This is my original plaque. This was given to me by some of the older members, which this plaque I've held on to it for all these years, and I will continue to hold on to it because I cherish this plaque. And this is my jewelry. This would be my president's plaques that I got last year at the banquet in Las Vegas, along with another list of awards. I got Member of the Year and Rider of the Year for the second time, which, guys from the club know all of that stuff doesn't come easy. I'm finally here with my president's plaque, and I'm proud, very proud to be in Majestics and to finally hold it in my hand. And soon, when my rack top's ready, it will be on the back window. I was brought here, or we made our journey here around late '89, where we were making our way as immigrants to California. And at the time, I didn't know what our journey was going to be like. I was a kid, pretty much lost or scared, not knowing what was happening. And our journey through those days was extremely difficult. shit, I didn't know that shit was gonna do that to me. I'm sorry. I think I only told that to my therapist. You know, but I feel like I wanted to say that, you know, I wanted to, you know, things that bother me about, you know, immigration and that topic, you know. So we made our way here in '89. Like I said, not knowing where we were gonna be at, just being scared. It was my brother and sister, mom and dad. We made our way through to TJ onto Chula Vista, and that journey alone was, I think, it's pretty traumatic and really opened my eyes at a young age to see what goes on and the injustice and the struggles that immigrants really go through on a daily basis to this day. On our first try, we got separated from my father and my youngest brother, not knowing where they were at, pretty much lost in the desert. We had to keep going, even though we couldn't find them. We eventually got caught that night, and my dad kept going, making his way through pretty much unknown land. He came across a patch where it was, he believes that it was quicksand or some type of swamp area where he was sinking, and he had my brother, which he was a baby at the time. As he was sinking, his only thought was just to throw him over the edge, you know, so at least he can have a chance to survive. Luckily, a group of people were passing by during that time and were able to get him and my brother out. And they were able to make it across the border into Chula Vista. About a week later, we were able to make it across, pretty much crawling through mud and every nasty, dangerous situation you can think of to make it to the other side. Well, you would think once we were on the other side that everything would be wonderful, but to our surprise, it was just the beginning of a long road ahead of us that has taken many years to be to the place we're at the time. We spent many years, many Christmases, and I guess that's been the hardest for me, spending Christmases and holidays, birthdays by ourselves. It was always, you know, the five of us, with pretty much no family here for years, and wanting to share those special moments with your grandfathers, aunts, cousins, you know. But those years were very difficult. So we moved to North Carolina back in '95, and we started off as we started working in restaurants and slowly saving up to eventually do something bigger. Our goal was always to grow. Right? One of the main reasons why we come here was to grow, you know, to take advantage of the opportunities that not only this state but this country offers. So in '97, we opened Charlie's Transmissions with a couple dollars in our pocket and lots of dreams. Here we are years later, and we have managed to not only stay open for 20 plus years, but build a good reputation, not only the local people, but big dealerships and independent dealerships where we constantly stay busy. Sherrod is like one of those guys that would literally give you the shirt off his back. but for some reason, life has just been a little rough with him. It seems like when he wants to move on or to get ahead, life has always had something there for him to trip. And at times I thought to myself, like, wow, man, this guy is just, he always has a smile on his face, and he's always joyful, and he's always nice, always giving, and all this negative stuff happens to him. So, you know, last year it was, I guess, the most difficult because he was diagnosed with cancer, and at the time, you know, like his family and I, we didn't know how to process that, because this was a guy that, you know, he's like Superman. You know, he's like a tank. You know, to have him, to know that he's going through that stuff, and the chances of his survival were, you know, I guess 50-50. It was very difficult. He had been working on a car for a while, and opening his business, and just between building his car and making his business grow, things got real difficult. And then him being diagnosed with cancer even made it extremely difficult for him to complete his car. A rule that we have in the Majestics is that you have a certain amount of time before you actually have to step out of the club if you don't have a car. Being that, you know, he's been my brother, and he's one of those guys that you just know he's solid. That's your friend for real, and that's hard to come by. I knew that I just couldn't let that happen. So after thinking about it for several days and talking to his wife, I kind of proposed to her that we build him a car, so he could, you know, kind of enjoy the scene with us again. Now, this didn't come easy. This was a team effort. A lot of the chapters from the Majestics helped out, along as with businesses here in the area and friends. 6 months later, from the time that we started the project, we were able to give it to him, and it was a pretty emotional moment, and very, very happy for him. I was happy for him, and I was happy to see him finally enjoy a car and ride with us, because ultimately that's what he wanted to do. So there was a moment where after everybody was gone that day, we took a ride right down the street from here, and it was just me and him. And you know, the sun was perfect, and it had cooled down, and we were listening to some music, and you know, it was just that smile on his face. And I recorded him. It's like he was finally back. He was finally complete. So that made me feel like my job was done. My job was complete, and I had done good for him. did that for you, man. I did that for you. Oh, you fuck. I know your struggles, man. I know your struggles. Oh, my God. It's you, man. Oh, you want it. Every time that you said about me, because you thought I saw Oh, my God. That's you, man. That's you. That is cool. Oh, God.
So I found out the 27th. I'm in the hospital the 28th of June. So I go in, they give me the medicine, and the surgery takes about 3 hours, about 3.5 hours. So I come up and I'm really groggy, and the lady's tapping me. She's like, Mr. Chavis, are you awake? Are you awake? And I roll over and she's like, hey, welcome back. She's like, everything went well. She said, you've been under for about 3.5 hours. And everything is looking good. She said, we're gonna let you rest a little bit longer, and we're gonna take you back upstairs to your room. So the doctors come in around 8 or 9, and they explain to me what they did, and that everything went well. At that moment, that's when I found out that I was that it was not aggressive, but I did have stage 3 colon cancer. He explains to me that on the average, they pull between 10 to 12 polyps, and with me, they pulled 76. 3 weeks after that is when I started my chemo. And the doctor explains to me, he says, look, he says, you're young, you're fit, and you're strong. He says, so we're gonna hit you really hard with the chemo. He says, that way we can go ahead and get it eliminated as quickly as possible, opposed to giving you small doses and dragging it out. Probably within, I had to go for 6 months. So I go in January the 27th, 2020, and I get to ring the bell, and I was cancer-free. So I walk into the shop, and there's a chair in the middle of the shop, and I see my buddy Chinaman on the TV, and I'm like, hold on, what's going on? And then the light comes on, and I'm like, oh my God. So I pull my hat down. I said, okay, these guys are about to do something about this, about to make me cry. And he said, hey, sit down, you know. And he says, hey man, you know, it's been a long journey for you. He said, man, we know we love you, and we just want to show you our appreciation for the person that you are. And he said, man, you know, you're a survivor. Now I'm getting teary-eyed, and the car pops up, and I just break down. You know, I break down, and it's love. It's just love, man. Man, can't even get it out. It's just love. To be appreciated like that, man, it really means the world.
I guess a message that I have that a lot of kids that I've seen now and before is that us as people who came from different places, and that know the struggle, being discriminated against and not speaking the language and being here by yourselves. Just know that there's people before you that have gone through that and that feel for you, and to keep on pushing. Take care of your people, take care of your mom and dad. Don't give up on the struggles. Keep pushing, because the life of an immigrant is painful, is lonely, is difficult, but with enough hard work and faith, you can achieve great things. And I think that my family and I are an example of what can be achieved with faith and hard work. So anybody who's struggling right now, that's feeling like this place is not for you, that's being discriminated against because how you look, keep pushing. Avoid the negative thoughts. Avoid the negative people. There's more good people than bad people. And by you setting the example, you might be able to change somebody's mind or how they look at you. I'm Carlos Gomez from Durham, North Carolina. I'm a real person with a real story with a real ride.